Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Tech ChitChat Show. This is episode 2. My name is Ken, and you can find me on Northern Viking Everyday and Northern Viking Explorer on YouTube. I'm here with my co-host Steven. You can find him at Steven Loney on YouTube or 8-Bit Warrior on Twitter. How are you doing today,
That's right.
Steven?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah.
Good. And you have your coffee again? I know I do. This is my second
Absolutely.
cup.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, mornings. So you're doing well today?
Yeah, doing well. Yeah.
Nice.
Good day.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you just told me that this is just like working at a gas station doing a tech talk show.
Yeah. Thanks. No, context helps. Just saying, I used to work at a gas station years ago, and every time we'd start doing it was the worst. It was kind of the hardest part to get into it. Even at a gas station, you had to deal with all these people, and the start of it was like, do I want to do this again? And then you start working and it's fine. So yeah. It's not like
we were talking about the hardest part of doing this is actually just pushing the record button on our screen here. So awesome. Yeah. Well, here we are, episode 2. I think the first one went well. If you want to go back and watch that, you can do that over on YouTube, as well as we're on several different podcasts at the moment. Most of them, Anchor, Google, Spotify, and more. So go check those out over on those platforms. Should we just dive right into it, I guess, and get rolling here? All right. First thing we wanted to talk about, and this one is kind of interesting to me anyhow. I got my hands on this last week. I don't own it, but I got to play with the new Canon M50 Mark II. And I say new, it came out in the fall. But this one's kind of a little bit more interesting to something I'm doing, because the Canon M50 Mark II is really a camera that's come out designed for the content creator. And I'll give you a little bit of background. I'm using right now a Canon M200, which is kind of, I want to call it the watered down version of this camera, the M50 Mark II, for streaming. So what you're seeing right now is coming through my Canon camera and not a webcam. But they've come out with this Canon M50 Mark II. There's been a little bit of a controversy surrounding it, just because it is, a lot of people say it's not that big of an upgrade over the Canon M50. The M50, though, had some features that, or sorry, the M50 Mark II has some features that I think are great that the M50 didn't. And I don't know why there's such a controversy. I think some people think it just could have been a firmware upgrade in the old camera. But so they've really gone after the content creator on this one, because it does some really cool things. So if you are into social media with Instagram, for example, you can flip this camera on its side and film in vertical mode. The other cool thing that they've done with it, and the reason I bought the M200 as well, is it has what's called clean HDMI. So that allows you to plug an HDMI cable into it and put it into your computer and get a clean signal. So you don't have all the writing on the screen that you typically see, the record button, everything like that, as well as it's given you an unlimited runtime. So it's not going to shut off after half an hour of recording. Now, that being said, my screen turns off after half an hour of recording, but it still continues to output that information. Yeah, so it's kind of a cool camera that's come out. It's really quite small, much smaller than the older, let's call it film cameras or non-mirrorless cameras, because this is a mirrorless camera. But yeah, it's kind of a cool one built for creators. I don't know, Stephen, have you had a chance to look at this or seen any of these Canon cameras?
No, I haven't looked into this too much. I live, what's the word, vicariously through you at the moment with this kind of stuff. Because I know how much, like, sorry, you're using a Canon right now, you said?
I am currently using a Canon M200, so kind of the watered down version of this camera.
Yeah. So, like, as being a Canon user, then does this product? I know you said that people said that it could have just been a firmware update or something like that. But are you excited for? Like, does it have your interest? Like,
it definitely does. And like I said, I got my hands on it this week. I got to play with it at work, and it feels very similar. I mean, it looks pretty much identical to the M50. Yeah. But I think just them being able to unlock the features for live streaming, it can do wireless streaming as well. So you could do it wirelessly, plug and play as a webcam with Canon software. That being said, it's a lower resolution. You're not going to get the full 1080p from what I'm understanding. But I think for like if you're a streamer for gaming and you want a good quality camera, this might be an option for you because of that clean HDMI now. I know I have mine plugged into an Elgato Cam Link. And if you're not sure about what all that stuff is, I can put links in the description below so you can check it out. But basically that's a video capture card that allows me to use this with my computer as a webcam. So you get a much higher quality video signal into your computer versus using a webcam.
Now, I hear the complaint from some people saying, "Hey, this could have been a firmware update or this or that." I don't know how much has changed internally. So if you just from the outside, just from feeling it and just using it, it could feel the same. But we don't know how much engineering has gone on inside.
That's true. Yeah, and I agree. I haven't actually looked too much into. I mean, there's some tweaks. I know that, but I don't know how much internally has changed.
And thinking of it in the case of like vehicles, I mean, for example, the Dodge Grand Caravan, there's like 2009 to 2018 all look the same exterior likewise. You could think that they're all the same vehicle, but there's like 10 years difference between the same vehicle. And people aren't complaining saying that these are all the same, right? So I think in this case, I think under the hood inside is like how much engineering has gone on that's not seen. And so, yeah, you could feel and be like, this looks exactly the same, but that may not be fair. And it could be true. Maybe they're right. Maybe it could just be the exact same thing. But at the same time, I think there could be little things inside that are improvements overall. So,
yeah. I guess one other thing, like I think Canon's trying to catch up with Sony in the streaming market.
Right.
I would say probably most people who stream out there have used Sony cameras, the 6000 or the 5100 or even now 6400, 6500, because they've had clean HDMI and those sorts of features for, I think, longer or more cost effectively for a longer time, maybe you can put it. So this is, I think, Canon's attempt these last few cameras to kind of get into that content creator market. So yeah, which kind of leads us into the next thing, which is actually Sony. I can switch over to that. So there is some news coming out tomorrow. There's supposed to be an announcement from Sony. If you go onto YouTube right now, it's set up as a live stream that hasn't started yet. And there's a big announcement coming from Sony tomorrow. The rumors are that they're going to be launching the Sony A9 III. That again is rumored. There might be some other cameras coming out as well, who knows, that are going to compete with the Canon M200. So that's coming out tomorrow. Now, some of the interesting stuff that they're talking about is this camera, if the rumors are true, could be an 8K camera. So I'm assuming it would be a full frame 8K camera, which is a lot. I do most of my filming still in 1080p. Yeah. What are your thoughts there on that, Stephen?
I mean, this looks pretty cool. I'm kind of a fan of like new Sony cameras, like as someone who's been kind of interested in trying to get into like filmography and stuff like that. I don't know, like, so 8K, and I'm reading here that apparently it's originally was being reported for being 5,900, it's about $6,000 US. Now, if this is right, now it's saying that it could be at 5,000. I mean, that's cheap for like an 8K camera that probably has tons of bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Compare this back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, when you wanted something that was high end to do stuff with. The fact that these are options that are under $10,000 is pretty cool. Because back in the day, if you were trying to look for like professional stuff, it was it was expensive.
Yeah. Well, I know in that price range, you're getting into the Blackmagic cameras and stuff like that. Yeah. I know the 7 series has been extremely popular with content creators as well. Sony's really taken the lead in cameras, especially for video. over especially companies like Nikon and whatnot.
Yeah.
Sony's really taken the lead in that for sure.
Yeah.
So,
And I think back in the day when I was first trying to get into filming and stuff, I think it was the Sony that I never bought one because it was still kind of, but I think it was like $3,500 back in the day. I think they may have been one of the early ones to even support this market. So I don't think it's anything new for them to be in this. Yeah.
So, I remember, I think it was your first camera that you did some video work on, an old Olympus. That point. It was a point and shoot like this big. It was awesome. Back in
that was a cool
early
camera.
2000s. Yeah.
And it took AA batteries too.
Awesome. So. We had a AA battery camera as well that we put rechargeable IKEA batteries in, but it didn't do video. So, so that's your start into doing video work, was with a camera with AA batteries.
AA batteries. No, it was actually when I actually first started doing some filming was with a mini DV. What was the old digital film?
Oh, a camcorder, like a mini DV.
Like
yeah.
And I was transferring it over on USB 1, which is painful. So I wasn't using FireWire or USB 2. It was USB 1, and it would take a long time just to transfer like low resolution video, and it was painful.
Okay.
So anyways, today we're so spoiled to be able to transfer things right away. Back then it was just waiting half an hour to get like 20 seconds of a clip or something. It felt like it was painful. So, well,
I do have a Sony Hi8 camcorder in my closet back here somewhere. So
you do?
that I bought in 2003, I think. So I think it still works. We can
keep
watch
it in the closet.
Our old home movies. Maybe I'll put it up on the shelf up here.
Yeah.
And, with those old cameras. So awesome. Let's keep rolling here. The next thing we wanted to talk about was Google acquisitions. They've been quietly buying a few different companies lately. I know one in December we're going to talk about in a moment, but then recently this past week, let me pull this up here. Google bought Fitbit, and which is kind of interesting. I know, honestly, I've got an older Samsung watch right here, and I just bought a new one this past week. The Samsung Galaxy 46 millimeters, still waiting to be shipped. So I'll be getting that soon. So Google is, I think, trying to step more into the smartwatch business. I think they've already, this is how much I know about Google's smartwatches. I think they've already tried some stuff, but they're definitely going to try and compete with Samsung. And of course, the big one, the Apple Watch. I haven't tried that. My sister has that. She loves it. I think your brother has one too, hey, Steven, and your dad?
Yeah.
Apple Watch?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I'm laughing because I think my one brother, I think he bought one, but I think it was a knockoff, and it got wet, and the strap started burning his wrist or something. So.
Oh, not the watch. The strap was a knockoff.
Oh, just the strap.
Yeah,
okay. Thank you. Right.
Just to clarify. Yeah.
I didn't follow up on full, but that.
So he was getting his wrist was all burnt up from the knockoff Apple strap, and yeah. So make sure you buy a real strap if you're buying one of those, because it like
don't buy the discount.
Going to the doctor where the. So so back to that. Google bought Fitbit for $2.1 billion.
Wow.
Billion with a B. And I think that's their attempt. From what I understand, I guess they're going to try and get into that market. I know they've done this kind of stuff in the past. The other interesting thing in this article, it talks about them. I believe it was this article. It might have been a different one. In January, they also spent $40 million to buy some smartwatch technology. Sorry, I'm looking off to the side at my other screen here. Some smartwatch technology from Fossil as well. So it's clear they're trying to get into this market a little bit more. Maybe not. I don't know if they'll change the name or if they're just going to be using the Fitbit name. I know the Fitbit name is pretty big, so
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens there in the next year.
Yeah, I'm not even into this. I don't like having things on my wrists and stuff like that. But like, I obviously know what Fitbit is. Like, I don't even care for the tech. It's not for me. But I definitely, like, you guys know, you guys use it. I think, right? And then like people in my family. It's a big name.
Well, and the one thing, like, we've had a few Fitbits over the years. Well, I shouldn't say that. My wife has had a couple, and they've not held up as long. And hopefully Google can address that. Like, we've had a couple of them, and they've both broken within a year. And like the Samsung watch, I've had it for 3 years now, and it still works great.
See, that's what with the Fitbit name, I would have expected it to be the higher quality. Like, I would have expected the marketing to be, it can take anything. It would just be like a strong.
Yeah, and maybe we've just had bad luck. Actually, that's the thing. If you've had a Fitbit watch, write in the comments below how long it's lasted for you. I'd love to hear about that, because we've had a couple of them and they've lasted probably no more than a year. So if you have one, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. That would be great information. The other thing, so that's one thing they got into. And back in December, this one kind of tweaked my interest. Google actually bought Neverware, and many of you probably haven't heard of Neverware. I've been meaning to try this out, and now I'm just going to hold off a little bit. So there was a company called Neverware, and it allowed you to turn your old laptops into a Chromebook. So Chromebooks use a lot less resources to run. So technically, you could turn your old laptop into a Chromebook, and it should run great and snappy and fast, just because of the resources if you have an old laptop. So I was wanting to try this out, but now that Google's bought Neverware, I'm kind of hoping it becomes official, and I can try it out officially with Google promoting adding this to your laptop. So adding the Chrome OS to your old PC. So that would be kind of cool. I know we talked a little bit about Chromebooks last week as well. I don't know. What are your kind of thoughts there on that one, Stephen?
I think this kind of thing is cool because I haven't used the Chromebooks very lightly. For my niece, she had it for school, and I was like looking at it and stuff. But I know how much you can get a speed up with old tech if you, for example, put like Linux, some versions of Linux on old hardware. I've seen like huge important, like where you can have an old laptop that just runs like garbage, like with modern Windows, even with an older Windows, even with a 7 or an 8, it just runs like terrible. And then, but I found that if you take certain forms of Linux and you put them onto an old laptop, it just brings it to life. You can web browse again, you can watch YouTube videos. And I think with the Chrome OS, I think it should be the similar experience. It's like, great, why not just take that old laptop that is good for nothing at the moment? It's a painful experience. It's frustrating. You put Chrome OS on it, and it should just, again, bring it to life. And especially for like old laptops that only have like 1 or 2 gigs of RAM in them. Windows seems to eat, like, for example, the Windows OS. I don't know what Mac does, but like with Windows, it seems to use like 1.5 gigs out of the gate just to load up, and you have like half a gig left. Where speak from Linux, I'm assuming Chrome OS is similar, but with Linux, there's some distributions that you use like half a gig, like 500 megabytes to boot it up, and you have like 1.5 gigs left for like, it's a huge difference, and it just brings. So I think that's cool. It's a good way to bring old hardware back to life, and to rather than throw it out and waste it. I think that's cool.
Well, and last week we talked about Windows 10X, which was Windows version of the Chromebook, and so I know, like, maybe both of them. Maybe you'll be able to install Windows 10X down the road on your old laptop and have it run for longer as well. So hopefully those sorts of things come around.
It's actually not a bad idea, making a light version of Windows so they can compete in that. Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, we've all had those. I mean, I've got a couple actually computers just waiting to to try this out on, because I think it's cool. Like to have that old laptop maybe sitting by the couch but it's snappy, you can still search stuff on the web really quick, would be super handy. So
yeah.
But yeah, awesome. Why don't we roll into monitors? I know we were chatting about monitors. This kind of leads into some computer talk here. I know you had some thoughts on monitors that you were thinking about. Let me pop up this slide we had here. So I know Asus, with CES all happening, I know Asus announced a bunch of monitors, some 4K 120 hertz action monitors and different things.
Action monitors.
I love how they put action in there. 43-inch 4K gaming monitors, 144 hertz refresh rates, all sorts of big numbers coming, big flashy numbers coming out.
This isn't your mother's monitor.
8K monitors, well, 8K TVs and different things. Have you seen any 8K monitors yet?
Not in person, no. Maybe.
Or heard of any being announced?
I mean, I have been watching, I was watching Linus Tech Tips, and they were doing 8K gaming. They had I think was it LG?
Okay.
Or anyways, they were doing 8K gaming with the latest GPU cards, and so that's the only thing. That's maybe the most recent thing. But in person, I don't know that I've seen 8K stuff yet.
Okay. I mean, I know they have the TVs at Best Buy or whatever, but not on the monitor side. I haven't personally seen anything. But
right, yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen even 4K is still high for me, that I find it sometimes unreasonable to even. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm using. I mean, we have a 4K TV, but these are 1080p monitors. I mean, until recently, most of the content we've had has not been 4K. Other than we got the new Chromecast, and that allows us to do 4K on that TV. So that's
it does,
cool. Yeah. So we got that at Christmas. So that was definitely nice. I mean, now we're kind of moving to the TV side of things, but
I think with the 4K gaming monitor, it seems to make more sense for TV, I guess. Even for monitors, if I want 4K monitors, it's actually for content creation, for having more space to work with a video editor and have more room that way. Not for gaming. For gaming, I'm content at 1080p or 1440p, and 4K is just for me, it's why do I really need that? For gaming in 4K, for me, it's not a seller. I mean, I guess the high refresh rate is nice. 144 hertz is nice. Again, usually I'm okay with 60 frame. For me, I'm not a big high refresh rate person, but 144 is nice. So I'm not excited. Honestly, it's fine. But the biggest deal breaker for me right now is once you go into these monitors, you're paying a much bigger price than you are for a 1080p high refresh rate monitor. You can get decent 1080p 144 hertz monitors, but once you go up to the 1440p and 4K, you start paying quite a lot bigger price on them.
Yeah. Well, and when I bought these two monitors back on Black Friday. I bought some other monitors and returned them because I had a problem with one of them. But these were the Black Friday. They're Dell monitors. They were only, I think, $119 each, and they're 24-inch 1080p 75 hertz Dell monitors. And I've been very happy with them. They're gaming monitors, 1 millisecond response time. So if I wanted to jump to 4K, it was at least going to be double that.
Would you consider those monitors? Are they action monitors? Would you classify
action? Well, depends. Am I playing Call of Duty or not? Honestly, I don't play much Call of Duty. What's that? I can't even. This is how much gaming I do recently. I can't even remember that racing game where you drive the car and hit the soccer ball.
Oh, Rocket League.
Rocket League. That's pretty much the most I've played on here. My kids have played a bit of Fortnite, but for the most part, that's about as far as I've gone with gaming on these computers for sure. So
that's
other than I did download claim my free copy of Battlefront 2 the other day.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. So
But you claimed it, but you haven't played it.
exactly. I claimed it, but I didn't play it. So we'll have to try that out. So awesome. Yeah. Any other thoughts you were thinking about with monitors there, Stephen?
No, I'm just hoping to see the prices come down, I guess, to be competitive somewhere.
Mhm.
Even for me, I just would like to see a competitive pricing market in the 1440p for monitors, for monitors specifically. And I kind of don't see 4K as a big push. I'd rather just see 1440p become competitive in pricing and all of that. So
Cool. Awesome. I know the next topic hits close to home with you.
yes.
Being a programmer and
Yeah, so I am a game programmer, and my tool of choice that I use is actually called GameMaker Studio, developed by a company out of Dundee, Scotland called Yo-Yo Games. And they were, this past week, I believe, officially purchased by a company called Opera, which develops a web browser, as many of you might know. And yeah, so this is kind of a big deal. So Yo-Yo Games was previously owned by a parent company called Playtech, which was actually an online gambling software company, which from the get-go, that they had bought it like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, I think it was 5 years ago. And it was kind of like a weird place to be, of like, the software is now bought by online gambling. That didn't sit well with, like, even with myself. It was kind of like, I'm not the biggest fan of this. And we just kind of went with it. So this is actually really big news for that community of Opera coming in, because Opera is like, just seems more in line with game development software. Like, it seems like a better fit than an online gambling company. It just seems like, yeah. So that ties into what's really cool is Opera has a browser called Opera GX, which is kind of like you have the action monitors. I guess you can consider this the action web browser.
the action web browser.
Yeah, so it's the web browser for gamers.
Yeah.
And at first it sounds really cheesy, and it kind of is, and wonderfully so. But so Opera GX, yeah, this web browser, this is where it kind of ties in well with gaming software and this and that. They're already kind of going in that direction of trying to embrace the gamer community and stuff. And so the Opera GX browser allows you to control like how much CPU the web browser can use at max. So if you're playing a game in the background, you can tell the web browser to only use like 10% at max. So it won't like use up more of that, or how much RAM you want it to use. Yeah, so the RAM limiter, the CPU limiter, and there's just more of these things focused towards, if you're a heavy gamer, here's some things that you could be interested in this browser to just kind of, and some of these things, again, they may sound like cheesy and like unnecessary, but it's actually kind of cool. It's actually trying to focus on people who want a bit more control of the web browser and what it's doing. And so that's what's kind of cool. That's what Opera's up to. And they do also have a more default web browser that's not the gamer web browser.
Are they having a gaming store as well, I guess it looks like?
Well, that's the thing. I haven't looked into it deeply, but they might get into that. And that's where it's kind of like, so the thing to tie into is recently Flash is officially dead now as of this year. Yeah. And so now it's there may be a renewed focus on HTML5 content, especially in gaming, because Flash gaming was quite big back in the day. Now it's kind of like dead for the most part. And so there's some consideration, is Opera trying to get into pushing HTML5 gaming? Will they tie it into a store? Because GameMaker Studio, which I use, does export to HTML5 for online gaming. So you can put it in a web browser, develop. So there's just, yeah, so that's with the Opera GX, is are they going to try to tie in HTML5 web content into it and try to really use GameMaker Studio to push that side, help in that? It's just kind of a cool little thing going on. So for me, as an end user of GameMaker Studio, it's good news for me. I'm excited about it, and it's kind of like looking at Opera and being like, okay, cool. What are you guys up to? What are you doing? What's their trajectory with things like having stores in the web browser and that? I'm excited to see where this goes and
what they have in
For
mind.
sure. Yeah, and it looks like it's got integration into Discord, and you and I use that a lot when we're chatting and preparing for this show, and Twitch integration. I hadn't looked at this until honestly this morning. This information, it looks kind of cool. I'm kind of want to install it and try it out, and I can maybe see how it works with Rocket League.
You can throttle your CPU and RAM and some web browsing.
Awesome. That kind of leads into our last topic today, and we just kind of dropped this in here at the end because I saw this morning. This week there was some. Let me just switch this here. This week there was a shutdown in a big tournament for about an hour because there was allegations of hacking with aimbots, and yeah, it was a pretty big tournament, a $250,000 Warzone tournament, Call of Duty Warzone. So they had to shut it down. I don't know. Have you watched the video, Stephen? What were your thoughts on? Did you think they were using an aimbot to help them with this? Or I know there's lots of allegations that there is cheating going on. Whether this was a case of that or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Watching the clip, like I haven't played Warzone, so I don't know how it feels to play Warzone. I don't know the quirks. Like, so I mean, I played a lot of first-person shooters, but like, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not surprised when I hear about cheating, even in these tournaments and stuff. I've heard it's been a thing before. It's nothing new. But watching the clip, I'd be hard pressed to say, yeah, for sure he's cheating. Yeah. I've played in matches online, a game where I could be accused of cheating too at times when I was playing matches, and things just, you have moments where things just align right and you just get in zone, and yeah, it's like, well, that was major cheater moment, but I wasn't cheating. Yeah, this is, so if I look at it at a glance, if I was playing in a public room, say I was playing PUBG or something, which I have played, and I saw this happen, I would think, good job. Like, I mean, there might be, like, it looks like there's some aim assist. No, actually, so if I was playing in like a PUBG room, I'd be wondering if this was suspicious. But because this is supposed to be like more pro tier, I'm thinking, well, it could be, because some of the pros are really crazy. Like, so it's hard to say. I don't know. And at the same time, I think this was, I don't know if this was a live recording or a replay of it, and I don't know if the replay is slightly modifying how it actually looked to the player.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
From my understanding, the player got pulled from the tournament, but he did give the tournament full access to his computer. From my understanding, that they could search his computer for any I don't know what you call it, aimbot files. So
yeah, but he could clear out his own aimbot search files beforehand.
For sure. Yeah. So just an interesting concept. I mean, as large gaming tournaments become bigger and there's more money in it, it'll definitely need to be cracked down on if it is becoming a problem. Just, you know, there is a lot of money in it.
It gets me thinking that in the future, it's like, if you really want to get into like pro tournament stuff, having to purchase pre-approved hardware and like actually buying into locked down computer tech that you're sent, that you buy, that you pay premium for, and it's locked down. And I think that
actual tournament, maybe you could practice on your own, but
practice on your own. But if you want to do these money tournaments, having requirement of having lockdown software they send you, or hardware and software, that if you try to modify it, it'll know. And right now it's kind of like, that's an expense, but it's like, if you really want to have for sure no cheating, you got to have something that locks it down. And as long as people are using their own computers, you can't really.
Well, there's big money in it now. I mean, that's $250,000, but I know like the Vancouver Canucks hockey team, they own a esports team.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. So there's a lot of professional sports franchises that have actually bought esports teams. And I think it's just growing. And I think as it continues to grow, they're going to have to somehow crack down on it so that the cheating doesn't happen. So yeah, I thought that was kind of just an interesting thing to throw in there. That sort of winds down to everything. I know we have a question of the day here for you guys, and it kind of goes back to the Sony announcement as well. We talked about it with the monitors. what kind of resolution, or is 4K and above resolution important to you? I know Stephen and I talked about it, maybe not so much for us of what we're doing. It is nice on a computer, but leave it in the comment section below if 4K resolution is important to you. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are there. And any other final thoughts today, Stephen, on anything? Or
no, I think I mean, again, as a GameMaker programmer, I'm excited to see where that one article we mentioned. But other than that, yeah, nope. That's it
all for today. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to, I know I get a chance to use that M50 Mark II. I'm kind of happy to see what Sony's announcing tomorrow. Kind of curious if they are going to be announcing other cameras, maybe something to compete with some more models to compete with the M50 Mark II. And so
yeah, I'm
awesome.
really looking forward to seeing your opinion on that as things go forward. I'd like to hear more about that.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching or listening today on all the platforms. Make sure you give this video or audio a like and subscribe. And again, leave us a comment below in the description. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, this was Tech Chit Chat episode 2. Take care.